Good morning, students. Meeting you after quite some time. I hope all of you are fine by the uh, circumstances currently happening. Today we will speak about web journalism as well as online communication. Okay, how you prepare for it. Online communication means whenever you are using whatever communication you are doing through use of the internet based communication applications or systems. Okay, very simply that is online communication. So nowadays online has become the order of the day. Even though before Corona crisis it was picking up, but now the Corona or COVID-19 has actually speeded up its made transition become much more faster than it would have been earlier. Now you see, to prevent corona, to break the chain of contagion or the spread of the virus, we have to minimize contacts between human beings. Okay, that is why a hard copy newspaper is difficult to be delivered. And initially, when last year COVID-19 has actually broke out, there was a lot of hue and cry saying that the physical surface was a carrier of coronavirus. But many times, several people, including medical professionals, have said that there was no possibility like that. But even then, when you have lost a major number of your clients, the customers who are readers, it is very difficult to gain those customers back again. Again, now we are having travel restrictions between even districts, fine, so that we can break the spread of the virus. The spread of the virus. That is why it is very difficult to. Of course, newspapers are being delivered, but it is becoming a bit difficult. Okay. So, online communication or web journalism has become the most important activity in media nowadays. Even cinema halls. Cinema halls were allowed to function with 50% capacity some time back, but again, because of being there in the cinema hall with a confined space, with all the outlets closed for 2 hours, 3 hours, has had a psychological effect upon people, and that's why hardly anyone is going to watch a film in the cinema halls nowadays. So even cinema films are all being offered on the OTT platform, over the top platform, which is based on net and digital practices. Okay, different kinds of protocols. While internet has started becoming popular in India or all over the world around the early 90s, many activities have started becoming popular around the 1990s. Okay. Nowadays, there are many portals or newspapers which are surviving, which were created, established basically on the net, and they will be always surviving or being conducted only through the net or web, World Wide Web. On the other hand, nowadays, even those traditional newspapers which are hard copy newspapers like Hindu, Assam Tribune, New York Times, Washington Post, etc., they have also had to have their web versions to survive, because even with the generations of people of my generations, many of them are becoming very much media savvy or digital savvy or internet savvy, and the digital divide is growing. But still, the upcoming generations, like you people, our children, etc., and the generations which will be the younger generations which will be growing up in the next 10 years, 15 years, most of them are increasingly and potentially becoming more and more online or digital savvy, internet savvy, rather than uh, being satisfied primarily with hard copy of newspapers or magazines. That is why web journalism has caught up or has developed so much nowadays. It also does have its advantages. Whereas a hard copy newspaper or magazine has to be delivered personally, physically to the customers. Here, if you have a mobile phone, if you have a small device, electronic device, computer, even your a smartphone or mobile phone is also a mini computer, microcomputer actually. So you can access the news or any other content whichever is available, or whichever is being sent to you, or whichever is floating in the web. Okay. So it is a round the clock 24 hours into 7 service. Scope to update news or contents anytime of the day or night. No need for physical delivery, that is the most important advantage. And unlimited space. Imagine, you must have already seen the YouTube. YouTube is so popular. How much, or imagine the quantity or quantum of videos, blogs, everything which are being posted or which are being attached to YouTube, or similarly with other such service providers. So, what kind of space is there? In a newspaper, hard copy newspaper or magazine, you have limited space. You can't do you can't provide contents beyond a certain point because of space limit. But in net, sky is the limit. You need to just explore more and more spaces in the coaxials, which will be done by just internet service providers. It is not your headache also. You just need to fill up the space. Okay. So these are few of the most important characteristics for which it is becoming popular and also at the same time so much convenient. Okay. Of course, for older generation people like us, I don't know about others, but for me, the hard copy newspaper or the magazine, I have a few, I read several magazines. They do have a special kind of attraction which will never fade away. Even though I tried to get my news items many times last year during Corona, when newspapers had to be stopped, I had to access news as well as articles on the net from different newspapers and magazines, but it was not very satisfactory. Okay, and eyes were also giving some trouble. But anyway, we have to keep up with technology. Usually, mass media is non-interactive. There is very less scope for immediate interaction, but in web, there is a scope for interactivity. Okay. Progressively, you can want something more. They may give you an option that you can do this, you can do that, etc. You can go explore further options, etc. And Wikipedia, there you can also edit as well as contribute. Hypertext, you prepare a document, you create a hypertext, a text to it, hyperlink to it, and you provide the link. If you are writing a story or writing a reference, you provide a link there, and the person, if he or she wants to have a better reading, he can click on that link and he will get the matter which is related directly or indirectly to the matter, to the contents which you are providing. Because of COVID scenario, it has the growth has become much more faster. That is true. But again, one question that is there, one thing I would like to emphasize is that the internet has democratized the space, public space, public space. The space all around us is not a space I mean, it's your right. I mean, you can use the space, of course, with certain restrictions or regulations. You cannot be a nuisance to the other people or public. Nobody can restrict your use of the public space. Similarly, uh, this internet system or the World Wide Web has also democratized the public space to an unimaginable extent. How so? You may ask. See, in a traditional system, conventional newspapers or magazine system, mass media system, again this question of space comes. Fine. Again, in a newspaper, they do take contributions from public on articles, features, etc., letters to editor, etc. But they also do have a limit. In Assam Tribune or the Hindu or the Times of India, they may be publishing different articles from public in addition to whatever is being published from their own source. Okay. But there is a limit. It's not that they can publish 100 articles every day. In Assam, we have more than 3 crores of people. And out of 3 crores of people, at least 100 or 200 people would like to say something on different matters every day. But is it possible for Assam Tribune or Sentinel or Amar Assam to publish 5 or 6 articles or 100, 10, 20 articles every day? No. That is the problem. Again, another thing is, all the newspaper houses or media houses, they do have their own goals and objectives, business interest, goals, objectives. And it is it's a normal practice that they would like to publish or print something which is according to their interests or which is not contrary to their own objectives or goals. Okay. There are definitely examples of when they also do publish articles or views which are not necessarily conforming to their own set objectives or goals, but that is very less. Okay. And it's a normal practice, you can't blame them. They will be publishing whatever is conforming to their own interest as well as goals, objectives, etc. But here, and why I'm saying that the web has democratized the space, here anyone can become a publisher or anyone can become a publisher, journalist, writer, commentator whenever a person wishes to become so. Okay. You can create a blog of yourself that can be taken as a individual level or group level meeting, or say blog is created by an individual or maybe a group. It is an opinion, it may be an opinion piece or it may be a journalistic piece with opinions coming free. Portals, news portals. Nowadays there are many portals which are giving news, I mean like a normal newspaper source. They are doing a good job, no doubt. And blogs are basically usually expressions of your own feelings, etc., comments, your opinions, etc., on a particular subject. Many times, even established journalists who are people who are working with some organization where they cannot officially express their opinions, they do resort to taking blogs, creating blogs where they express their opinions, which do not, you'll find a disclaimer announcement saying that this is not a reflection of the opinions of my organization. That is important because your opinion, you may be an employee of their organization, but that doesn't mean that you will be supporting each and every activity of that organization. Fine. So that way you can utilize this space for expressing yourself. And sometimes like prominent newspapers which are which are very much dedicated to giving the truth, which may be uncomfortable to the society or the establishment or the government at many a times. A blogger or news portal can also be similarly very powerful. Powerful means not in the negative sense, but in the positive sense that they may be pointing out to crucial, uncomfortable points which the government or the society may have lied to overlook, or maybe something not positive has been done to a particular community on or a particular aspect which is being pointed out by the news portal or blogger. Okay. In fact, this morning while I was reading the Hindu, I came across this news item saying that this with this photograph. I will just tell you. Belarus diverts flight to arrest blogger. Okay. You may have heard quite a lot, and being even otherwise, and being students of mass media, you must have definitely heard that pen is mightier than the sword. It is true. Even Napoleon Bonaparte has said it long time back, even when there was hardly any concept of mass media. Okay. That means when media publishes something, it creates more influence than anything else. Okay. You're not using brute pressure. You're not using weapons to suppress somebody, to make somebody oblige with. Okay. And you know about the Arab Spring issue. Arab Spring. If any one of you have not cannot recall, please go and find out what was the Arab Spring issue. Okay. And then I think it was Blue Lotus revolution in Egypt, probably, right, which were started by activities on the website, activities on the World Wide Web or internet. Okay, Arab Spring, and I think in Egypt it was probably the Blue Lotus eruption or revolution. Okay. Now, what I want to emphasize is that if you have a newspaper, hard copy newspaper establishment in a country, the country in which it is established, they can try to manipulate you, or they can try to say pressurize you not to publish things which may be detrimental to the government's interest or the ruling party's interest. But if you are resorting to blogging, or if you are publishing a news portal somewhere, if you have a news portal somewhere, you don't need to be in that country to expose things. You can be anywhere in the world, but at the same time you are informing people, you are giving contents which are influencing people anywhere across the world. Okay, that is why when WikiLeaks, the person behind the WikiLeaks, I forgot his name right now, he was hunted out by USA and other places to for a very long time. Now I think he is in custody of one South American state. I think. So what I want to say is that these are the major advantages. First of all, it has democratized the space. Nowadays, anyone can become a journalist, publisher, or commentator whenever one wants to, and that too, it has very less amount of expenses. You hardly have any expense. If you have a laptop, or if you have just have a mobile phone with a camera and internet connection, you can be a blogger, you can be a publisher, you can be a journalist, etc. And that has also opened up the aspect of crowdsourcing or citizen journalism to a big extent. Citizen journalism was becoming important, but now there are two aspects of crowdsourcing. One is you are speaking about something, say, and saving the environment, saving the rights of some communities, etc., etc., or you are saying something against the government's, some of the policies of the government, then you can use this, space for garnering more and more support from the people. Common ordinary citizens like us who would like that, who would realize that whatever you are saying or the blogger is saying is fine and we should support him or her. And then there are two things here. You can also contribute through contents. You can also add your bit that this is happening, this that is happening, etc. Or you can also contribute from in a financial point of view. In a different way, of course. When the last president of USA, Barack Obama, has won the elections first time, the campaigning through internet or web has gained a lot of attention. This is the first probably presidential elections or elections to any head of the states of the world where the internet campaign, social media campaign has taken up so much of importance, and which was also being used by other countries, including India, in the later years. So there are two things. One is crowdsourcing of funding, and one is crowdsourcing of contents. You have some contents, good contents, which is in conformity with what a blogger might be saying, so you add those things to your to that site. Okay. Recently, sorry. As I'm becoming old, sometimes I do forget things. I have shown you this thing. Belarus diverts flights to arrest blogger. There is a blogger in who is from. I think he is a Lithuanian person. I think he is from Belarus. Belarus was Belarus is presently an independent country, but which was earlier part of the United Soviet Socialist Republics. You know, USSR, the predecessor of Russia. It was a country of, it's actually federal system of around 20 or 25 countries, states. I mean, now Russia was the biggest one. And after Mikhail Gorbachev's perestroika and glasnost, they have broken up, and now Belarus, Ukraine, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, all these countries states have become separate countries. Okay. So Belarus is also one such country. Now there is this blogger, Roman Protasevich. He is just 26 years of age, few years elder to you people, and he was on the wanted list by the police and intelligence agencies because of his blogging activities, because of contents which he has supplied in his which he has displayed in his blog about corruption and nepotism, etc., etc., around the country's election time, but in which the present prime minister, the president of the country, Mr. Lukashenko, he came to power. I mean, he has been in power for quite some time. It is happening in several of those countries, even including Kazakhstan, Tajikistan, etc. If a person comes to power as president or prime minister, he or she keeps continuing it for quite some time, even like Putin has been continuing either as a prime minister or either as a president. Now, this person's blogs or contents of the blogs were very uncomfortable for the ruling party, and that is why the person was going to, the aircraft was flying from Athens to Vilnius, which is in Lithuania. I think Vilnius is the capital of Lithuania, probably. Vladivostok or Vilnius. And the plane was about to enter Lithuania when the Belarus president has ordered that the plane be diverted back to Belarus, and he has sent even his war aeroplanes, Air Force, Belarus Air Force airplanes, to escort the flight back to his country. And this person was held captive. Okay, so you can see, as I have said, uh, pen is mightier than the sword. So in this case, the web journal is web blog is mightier than the sword. He has become so important. I mean, he has become so influential. Even the president of that country had to take into cognizance his presence, and he was detained. He had to be detained. Okay. Of course, a lot of protests that are being carried out about against such a blatant use of force against the democratic system, in a democratic system. So this is one thing. Please read this. I think it has come out. I mean, it has come out in most of the newspapers, but it is Monday, Hindu, 24 May. Okay. Now, in one of the blogs earlier, I think yesterday or a few days back, I have told you about an organization called CDC, Center for Disease Control. This is not about, this reference is not about web journalism, but it just came to my mind. It was along with going side by side. They are not related, of course. In the same newspaper, this is the organization, which I spoke to you about. CDC, Center for Disease Control USA, which is doing a lot of studies about heart inflammation in some young vaccine recipients regarding corona. Okay, read about this. But all said and done, there are few important issues in this regard. Okay. First of all, ethical issues. This is linked to ethical issues are linked to several other sub-issues. One is, in most of the times, in news portals or blogs which you are supporting or you are promoting, there is hardly any editing setup. Right? You are editing, I mean, if you say that you are editing, people will believe you, but if you are saying something, it should be left to a third party or second party to edit it, so that the editing is not biased. Now, all established newspapers, hard copy newspapers, I mean, they do have a proper setup. You have editors, you have journalists, at every stage, right from the story ideas to doing the story actually and the editing of the story later on until the time of publishing it. A lot of editing goes into it, and fact-checking, editing goes into it. So ultimately, whatever is published is, you can be sure to an extent, to a big extent, that they are bias-free and they are not non-factual. Of course, even in between, there are some areas or aspects when some kind of bias is reflected, no doubt, either knowingly or unknowingly. But that is not that much. But in case of blogs or portals, blogs especially, we can't be sure how much editing has been actually carried out. If I am, suppose, I promote a blog and I say that I have done a lot of editing, but ultimately I have written it and I have edited it. So how much change can you actually expect in the end product? That is the $1,000,000 question. That is one major aspect, major negative aspect or spot, you can say. And secondly, all of us are very much familiar with this infodemic or the problem of misinformation, disinformation, which keep moving around, which keep floating in the web-based or internet-based publications. Okay. This has become very important nowadays. Even Facebook is taking up a lot of efforts to make people familiar with fact-checking tools, because many times you don't know which information is correct and which is not, and which is given with some vested interest, etc. That is one major black spot in this regard. And it's not always possible for each and every person to go for fact checking at every moment of time. So these two are basically to measure negative developments or negative aspects which need to be taken care of in future. And in fact, in 2018, I was preparing an article for a magazine. It was published later on. There I could find that fact checking was a major issue always, and many a times contents were released with vested interest. And BBC has done a detailed study in 4 or 6 countries all over the world, mostly in developing world, Asia and Africa. They found that they came out with a big report. I can't recall the name of the report. I will tell you later on. There they have written. I mean, they found out that the study report says that many times you will find messages or information saying that the Indian national flag has won the best national flag prize or award at United Nations, or our national anthem was adjudged as the best one in the global platform. This kind of things you will find a lot. Now it is not coming, but earlier it was coming. Everyone should have perfect respect for his or her national anthem or national flag or everything he represents or his country. But this doesn't mean that there will be a prize for that, and there are actually no such prizes or awards, believe me. Okay. So it was found by BBC that most of such messages or information contents which were forwarded were basically they hinted at some kind of right-wing propaganda, and as well as saying that based on mostly they could be linked directly or indirectly to insisting or inciting the sense of pride among the people, among the users about their nationality. That is very much true, but many times, most of the times in fact, those contents or information were found to be baseless. There was nothing like that. So that should not happen. And again, another development I am coming to is, that is of course not negative development, it is a positive development. Since sometimes, I think last 2-3 years, there has been a claim, in fact I read about it happening in Australia probably first. Facebook and I think Google, not Facebook, Google. Google has been giving out a lot of information, and many a times newspapers, traditional newspapers are saying that Google is taking information or content from them and supplying it somewhere, other spaces. So to negotiate that and to bring an end to that, many of the newspapers were formally asking for revenue sharing from Google. Okay. That was done, and now I think the organization is taking similar steps even in India, that there will be some amount of revenue sharing because of their mutual interest in taking up or picking up news stories from each other. Google picking up stories from the newspapers, and newspapers picking up some information from Google. Fine. I have not done a detailed study about it, but I think this is a good idea which should be experimented or explored in future. I will also try to have a detailed study about it and discuss about it in future. Okay. And again, when you were, you can say, I don't know whether you can say it is a negative one or positive one. Many a times there is a question of privacy in discussion. With Facebook it happened, and with now WhatsApp it is happening. WhatsApp has talked about, requested its users about giving a permission for user, I mean some new publicity, privacy policy, fine. But renowned lawyer and earlier minister in Congress government on education also, Mr. Kapil Sibal, he is a very renowned lawyer who has given a petition in the court, Delhi Supreme Court, that actually the system was a bit faulty and it should not be implemented. Deliberations are going on. I don't know what will be the final outcome, but this is an opinion piece in Hindu again on May 24 issue. The title is WhatsApp and its dubious claims. They claim that the new privacy policy is applicable to only business version of the app is not comforting. Now maybe they will say it is applicable for business version, and gradually when people do not suspect it, they will simply transfer it for general public also, general consumers also. That will be a bit difficult and that will be unhealthy. Now, about one thing I would like to conclude. I talked about infodemic. You know what is an infodemic and misinformation, disinformation, malinformation, etc. I believe to a very big extent, the problem is coming up because every Tom, Dick and Harry or every Tom, Dick and Harry of the internet service providers are starting to supply news to public. For example, I have my primary email ID in Rediff Mail. Rediff Mail gives news service. They pick up news from different places, different sources, and give it, serving it to the customers. Similarly, Yahoo, and most of the other internet service providers are picking up news from different places and serving it to their customers. But I believe to a very big extent, this is causing a lot of unwanted information or a lot of misinformation or ill information, malinformation to be circulated on the website, on the World Wide Web without any restriction, and which are actually very much disturbing as well as unhealthy for the future of the society. Okay, so let us conclude here. Web journalism is very important. Nowadays it is becoming more and more aggressive as well as important nowadays, and COVID has actually sped up its developments. But only thing is that we will have to take care of the editing setup as well as fact checking and infodemic, so that a good content go to the public, and we are actually responsible to the public for supplying. If we are practicing in web journalism or any kind of media service, we are responsible to the public ultimately for any kind of contents or service we are providing. Okay, so that responsibility we will have to own out, so that tomorrow or in future nobody can fault us, nobody can blame us for supplying malinformation or misinformation to the people under any circumstances. Okay, thank you very much. We will speak formally again in a few days.